My expectations for UEG 2019 are really to learn more about sort of some of the present therapies that we have for inflammatory bowel disease and how to use them better in our clinical practice. And I think we're going to get that from several presentations and subgroup analysis from those therapies. And also to learn more about some of the newer therapies that we may be using in the future. We're at a very important point in the treatment of inflammatory bowel disease where we're going to see a rapid introduction of new molecules, and we'll see some of that data presented here this week. Well, the most significant data that I'm expecting out of this meeting is two largely anticipated trials called the SERENE trials in both ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, utilizing adalimumab treatment for those diseases. So SERENE UC was a post-approval study mandated by the FDA looking at high-dose intensive induction with adalimumab in ulcerative colitis versus standard dosing. Many of us anticipated that using higher doses of adalimumab in ulcerative colitis was going to lead to higher induction rates. Unfortunately, that study was negative, showing that the standard dosing is as good as the more intensive dosing. There's an additional study that was done in Crohn's disease with similar methodology using high-dose intensive induction dosing versus standard dosing. And once again, if you're looking at either clinical or endoscopic outcomes, we're seeing no difference. So that can be interpreted in a few ways. It could be interpreted as the dose of adalimumab that came to market for both ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease were the right doses. But I think we just need to pause and wait until the maintenance phase of those trials also reads out. One of the studies, and one of the most important news coming out of here that I think needs to be replicated, is some data coming from what's called the EVOLVE study. So the EVOLVE study was a multinational observational study looking at the use of vedolizumab in Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And certainly in that real-world cohort that the authors had presented previously, it shows that it's very effective and that there's a lot of persistence with that drug. But what they were able to also do in this study is to look at whether the sequencing of drugs made a difference. So one of the important things that we're trying to learn with multiple drug options is which drug we should use first or second. Traditionally, if we look at randomized controlled trials, patients who are previously exposed to biologics with any of our newer agents tend to do less well than patients who are, we call, bio-naive. In this study, they looked at either first-line therapy with anti-TNF or second-line therapy after vedolizumab, and what they demonstrated at 3- and 6-month endpoints, whether it be remission or persistency, is that the anti-TNF performed as well in second line as it did in first line. Now, even though this was retrospective, if this is borne out, this could give us a first glimpse of perhaps what the sequence of drug therapy should be in the future. I think the results that subgroup analysis from EVOLVE today won't change the way we position drugs. I still think that you need to think about sort of patient factors and other factors and how you position anti-TNF as first line or second line. But I think studies such as EVOLVE are needed so that we can make decisions in what should be first line and second line in the future. I think it's a first step in the right direction.